Hello and welcome to Soul Babes Craft and Creations. I am Louise and today is Sunday the 20th of April, which means it's If It's Sunday. But first we will do today's quote of the day. And the quote is, "Without great ambition, one cannot reach the summit." Now I'm pretty certain I have already done this one in a previous video, so I'm not going to expand on whatever I may have said in that previous video. And I think it's this particular perpetual calendar that I'm using probably has some of the same quotes several times over, so I will leave it at that. But anyway, as I said, today is If It's Sunday. Now there's going to be a slight difference to today's one because I haven't done any external videos to add in, so this will just be this part of the video going forward. And I'm actually doing a thing about what changes I am going to be making to this channel. Now they may be only temporary, or they may be a bit more permanent. It all depends on how the situation of my health goes, because a lot of this is because of a situation with my health. So let's go through what I plan on doing. So Monday's magazine makes, I intend on keep on doing them, but there's going to be some slight changes to the ones that are stitch samples rather than squares. So the Art of Crochet book magazine will stay as squares because they are set as squares. The 3D granny squares and the 100 tiles will also stay as what shapes they are, because they are already set out as shapes. The Bella Coco book and the Bella Coco cards are mostly stitch samples. So what I will do on those is I'm planning on changing the way I want to do the blankets for those. So instead of doing separate squares, because each square at the moment is a different size, and I'm not happy with the way that is working out. So I've now decided that I'm going to have a starting point, and I'm going to make 4 strips of sample stitches that will be a certain width and a certain height, and then they will be joined together to create a blanket. So that will be happening with all the stitch sample instead of them being squares, they're going to be as a strip length, as a stitch sampler, and then each stitch will be separated by a break in the color, and I will probably be using the white as a thing to break up each of the stitches in that particular one. And I will just keep going every week until it gets to a certain length. Then I will start a new one and continue on in that way. So that will be the Bella Coco book, the Bella Coco cards, and the Claire Montgomery book. They're all stitch samples rather than squares. The Claire Montgomery cards, both the official and the unofficial, will continue as the squares because they are all set up as squares. So I shall continue using them as squares. And then eventually, once I get enough of all the same size, I will then turn them into blankets using the continuous join method. That's the way I like to use, the way I like to put my blankets together is the continuous join. So that's what I will be doing. Tuesdays, which is Tunisian Tuesdays. Again, I'm rather than doing them as separate squares, because the same as the Monday stitch samples, they're all coming out different sizes, and I'm not happy with the way that they're all coming out differently. So I've decided, again, I'm going to do the same idea of putting them on top of each other with a colour break in between, which is going to be two rows of simple stitch between each one with probably again white. I'm preferring to either use white or black. Might actually do black because I'm doing white for all the normal crochet, so yeah, might do black as the one for Tunisian, so that I know the difference. Well, I do know the difference anyway. I can recognise the difference between Tunisian and normal crochet, so that's fine. But again, because they are stitch samples, I will do the same idea as I will do for the stitch samples for the crochet. Wednesday, the amigurumi. I am struggling to put the time in to be able to do the amigurumi. So I am putting that on pause for now. The plan is to probably change Wednesday to, well, I'm going to call it Work on It WIP Wednesday. I have many, and I have lost count as to how many WIPs I have outstanding to finish. They're all ones that I want to get finished. I just haven't been able to put any time to it. So the plan is to do a new segment on a Wednesday called Work on It WIP, where I will draw out one WIP out of the many that I have, and I will focus on it either in the video and focus on doing some of it, or focus on it for the week and come back and show the following Wednesday what I have done, even if I haven't finished it. I will come back, show what I've done, and then put it to one side until it gets picked again. I don't know how many as yet, because I haven't finished getting them all out to see what I've got left to do. So we'll see from there. So we'll now go on to Thursdays, which is the Diamond Art Thursdays. Those I'm not really having too much of a problem with at the moment, so I will continue them as they are at the moment. They're about the only one that I'm able to sit and do quite happily without too much problems. Fridays. As you will have seen from the last couple of videos, on the Friday, I have not been showing me doing the cross stitch, mainly because the cross stitch one, the one I'm doing at the moment, you can't see the colours very easily, as it seems to be mostly white on a white background. So you can't really see me working on the stitches at the time. So the plan is to finish doing that one off camera, other than doing maybe the back stitching, because the back stitching is a dark grey stroke black yarn, thread. So I'm going to be probably doing that part on camera, or at least part of it on camera, when I get to that point. Saturdays, the resin art Saturdays. As stated in yesterday's video, I have developed some kind of rash, or it's sort of irritation more, and it is on my hands, mainly on my fingers, which it then, when it appears, I can't do anything else. I can't do any cross stitch because the needles just dig in, and it's like, it feels like somebody is stabbing my fingers constantly with very fine needles. So when you're using a needle, it's even worse. It's the same when I'm trying to crochet. It hurts to crochet and makes it then less enjoyable to do any of these crafts. So, as I'm not sure yet what my reaction is to, whether it's to the resin or to the new nitrile gloves that I have recently bought, or because I didn't used to have this problem with resin until I bought these new nitrile gloves. So my feeling is more likely that it's a reaction to the gloves. I have a reaction to latex, so these are supposed to be latex free, but I'm not sure whether that is the case or not. But I seem to have a reaction to them. And to be honest, I did notice this same reaction when I was in hospital last, because it was the same gloves that the surgical teams wear and use. So I am wondering whether it is probably the gloves that I'm using rather than a problem with the resin. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to give my fingers and hands a chance to heal. I'll keep using some cream that I have got from the pharmacist to see whether or not this helps and heals it up. And then once it's healed, I will then do a gradual reintroduction somewhere along the lines, and to see what it is I'm having a reaction to. If it's the resin, then resin will no longer be on my channel. If it isn't the resin and it's the gloves, then I will change my things for my gloves. So we'll see from the. I've got some ideas of what I might try. So we'll see from there. I'm hoping it's not the resin. I really am hoping that it's not a reaction to the resin, because I love doing the resin. I love making things with resin for my family, and my family have loved the things that I have made in recent years. So I'm just hoping it's the gloves and not the resin. And then Sundays, i.e. today with the If It's Sundays, that will still continue. Just don't know what will be involved, because like the saying is, it's if it's. If I've done something, if I've done a video that I haven't otherwise got on the channel, there we go. I don't know what I'm going to replace on the Saturday as yet. Got a couple of ideas, but I don't know whether they'll work out or not. Excuse me. My cup of tea has just decided to repeat. Oh, that wasn't very nice. Yeah, I've again not feeling at my best. This is part of the problem with my health. So I am not feeling at my best. And talking of my health, I am now back on the hormone replacement medication that I'm supposed to be on for life, because I had my thyroid removed 13 years ago. So it's not been good for the last 6 months of not being able to get my medication, because the doctors have been refusing to supply it. So I've managed to finally get the doctors to put me back on it, because I have been feeling the serious effects of not having thyroid medication. So finally been put back on, but of course I'm 6 months down the line of not having the medication. It could take 6 to 8 months before the normality could be back in play. So at the moment, the effects I have with the lack of thyroid, the lack of the thyroid hormone, shall I say, means that I want to sleep constantly, but my body can't shut down to sleep. So that's part and parcel of the Graves' disease, unfortunately. But I will shut down with no warning. I will just literally fall off to sleep with no warning about it. Also, because of the fact that it's an autoimmune disease that I have, the Graves' disease is an autoimmune, it means that I'm susceptible to getting coughs and colds for any reason. Now, we have, because my youngest is autistic and ADHD, we have a adult carers come in, because he's also 19, so he's under the adult care system now. We have some of them come in 2 or 3 times a week to help encourage him to do basic independent skills. Not doing so well at the moment, because he's having also a mental health situation going on, so yeah, this is quite a big situation for him. But also with my health deteriorating very quickly because of one, not being on the medication I'm supposed to have been on, and it has meant that they're having to come in to deal with my youngest. And it then means that he's, how can I put it? He's become a hermit in his own room, barely comes out of his room. My mobility has got to the point where I barely even leave the house, and in most ways, I barely even leave this room because this is my living room of the house, but it's also my bedroom and my craft room, and I barely leave it. I only leave to go to the bathroom or to go to the kitchen. So, again, mental health is causing more of an issue, and with now me being back on the medication, I want to gradually get myself to the point where I can get back outside and go for walks, because part of the problem of not having the medication is I have put on an extreme amount of weight, which has affected my mobility as well. It's also affecting my mental health, and it's a very easy downward spiral when that is the situation. I want to get out of that downward spiral. I want to be able to gradually work my way back up again and get back to some kind of normality, um, whatever we can class as normal. There isn't really a level of normality, but I certainly want to lose a lot of weight. Maybe not the full amount of weight that I need to lose, but I certainly want to lose a lot of weight so that I can get mobile again. I have a great deal of difficulty when my grandson comes to keep up with him. He's a 3-year-old. Well, he will be 3 in a month's time. Um, he just wants to run around, and Nanny can't do it. Nanny can't run around. Nanny is struggling even to move from sitting to a standing position. So when he runs around and then bumps into something and wants cuddling or whatever else, Nanny can't get up to him quickly to help him do that. So it's very, very disheartening when you know you could do it before and you can't do it now. I mean, in most of my life, I have walked miles because I rely on public transport to go anywhere. And when I used to live down in Cornwall, um, public transport was few and far between. So most of the time, you walked miles and miles to go between villages, especially when you don't drive. I never learnt to drive, so I rely totally on public transport, or Shanks's pony, as we call it, because Shanks's pony is you walk. And yeah, I used to walk miles every day when I had to take the kids when they because I have 3 children. Um, when I had to take them to school. I had to walk up and down hills. So, yeah, now the mobility isn't there. I can barely even walk 20 yards, let alone miles. I mean, for me to walk from where I live to the town centre to where the doctor's is over a mile. I can't walk that distance. I cannot walk that distance to get to the doctor's. So, yeah, my health is in a serious condition at the moment, and not serious enough to be back in hospital, but that's not that far off. I was warned about it when I went to see my specialist um, at the beginning of March. He warned me that if I don't start losing some weight soon, I'm going to end up back in hospital and it's not going to be good. So I need to lose weight. But the only way I can do that is one, being on the medication, and two, being able to start getting out and doing some kind of exercise. So I've got to change my mental state of mind from being the way it is at the moment, where I'm literally scared to even go out of my front door, to I've got to walk. I've got to go for a walk. I've got to go out and get to the doctors or get to the shopping. And my husband does all of that at the moment, but his health isn't exactly at the best. He had Bell's palsy a few years back, and he still has the effects of that. So, yeah, none of us are particularly in the best of healths. So we do need to start working on that situation. So there are going to be changes on the channel, and if things work out and get better, then changes may be back on the cards again. I might bring back in the amigurumi at some point, um, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. So, with that all being said and done, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Love and kindness to everyone. Bye for now, and I will see you all soon.